Hey, friends. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey, Hallmarkies. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, joined again today by my good friend, Alex, to talk about our Hallmark Channel top 10 movies for 2023 non-Christmas. And this includes Hallmark Channel and Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. So we'll be doing two separate top 10s. But welcome back to the podcast, Alex. I'm excited to have you on today.
Yes, I'm really excited to talk about all these great movies from
Yes.
There are a lot of good ones in this bunch, so.
Yes. I must say it was incredibly difficult to narrow down to just 10.
Definitely was for me because, like I said,
Yes.
there was so many other good ones as well that didn't make our list.
Yeah.
But I think
Yes.
the ones we picked were their best ones.
Yes. And just for a little info on how the episode is going to go today, we will rank our movies from 10 to 1, with, of course, number 1 being our top favorite of the year. And with each movie, we'll just share what we liked about the movie and any favorite scenes and anything else we may want to share. So we will start with Hallmark Channel. And would you like to go first with your number 10, Alex?
Yes. For my number 10 on Hallmark Channel was Never Too Late to Celebrate, which starred Alexa Pina Vega and Carlos Pina Vega. And I really loved this movie from last year. It was like such a fun summer movie.
Yeah.
And I thought Carlos and Alexa were like great in it.
Yes.
They always have good chemistry
Yes.
together. It's probably because they're married.
Of course, yeah.
Their chemistry's always a 10. But no, I felt like they had like a lot of great scenes together. Probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie was the scene, I think it was like towards like the middle of the movie, and they were walking in like town. They were having they were like in town. They were like, I don't know if it was a festival and they had like the band playing and they both started dancing.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right, that scene.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, and they dance like together in like in that little like space because they had like the band playing.
Yeah.
And yeah. I thought the movie was a good number 10 pick.
Yeah, it was a good one. And that's coming up for me. I won't share what number it is, but it's coming up soon. And I'll mention my favorite scene that I can remember when we get there.
Right. Okay.
But my number 10 is 3 bed, 2 bath, 1 ghost. And that stars Chris McNally and Julie Gonzalo. And for all of the Hardys out there, of course, we know Chris from When Calls the Heart as Lucas Bouchard. Yes. And Chris and Julie are a real life couple. So I loved seeing them on screen together. I thought they had great chemistry.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was another that's up in my list too.
Yes.
It's a higher number, but I love that one too.
Yeah. A lot of great scenes. While the story was, of course, like a normal Hallmark movie, predictable a little bit, it still had a unique twist to it. And I loved that.
Right. No, it did. I like that. Like I said, it had like that kind of like that time travel aspect too, but just in the beginning. But I like that it added that to it.
Yes. And I have to say, Madeline Arthur, who played Ruby,
she was so good.
Can we give her a round of applause?
So good in it.
Yeah, incredible. She made the movie.
Yes.
I
definitely did.
Of course, Chris and Julie did a great job too, but Madeline was fantastic as Ruby. And the costumes, especially the period costumes.
Like I said, anything like that has like a time travel aspect and they go back in time, like all those like old Hollywood costumes, I love.
Yeah. And the twist at the end, I totally did not see that coming.
Me either.
I was like, what?
We all love a good Hallmark twist, though.
Yes. I haven't seen this movie in a while, but from what I can remember, I think one of my favorite scenes would have to be between Ruby and Anna when Ruby is helping her learn the Charleston, the
Yeah,
dance.
that was a fun scene.
Moving on to our number 9. Would you like to share yours?
Okay, so my next one for number 9 is Field Day, and that starred Benjamin Ayres and Rachel Boston. And let me see, this was such another fun movie.
Yeah.
I love that it had to do with Rachel Boston's character joining like the parent teacher
Yeah.
organization, and she helps her 2 friends out. Kelly and Marissa like organized the whole field day.
Yeah.
And I thought Benjamin Ayres and Rachel Boston, that their chemistry was like
Yes.
really, really good in this movie.
Yes.
And I love like the whole story too, like what Rachel,
Mhm.
and Rachel, who plays Jen, and her daughter in the film. I love that. I thought they had a really nice like mother-daughter relationship
Yeah.
in the film too.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yes. I'll mention a little bit more when we get to it in my rankings, but
Right.
yeah, great movie, great
Yes.
ensemble cast. Yes. All around. Very
It was a good
fun
one.
storyline. Yeah. With a little emotion thrown in there.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. It was fun, but it had like that emotional touch added to it.
Yeah.
But
Yes. My number 9 is Never Too Late to Celebrate. We've already talked about this one a little bit, so I'll keep it short and sweet. But great chemistry between Alexa and Carlos, and really the entire cast. I thought it was a really unique storyline. And
right.
I also loved, shout out to the Postables here, Sherry Miller played Alexa Pennevega's mom in this movie. I won't spoil who she plays on SSD. You'll just have to wait and see. But
Yes.
she's fantastic, and I loved seeing her in another Hallmark movie.
I love Sherry. I love her in her other roles as well.
Yes. Yeah, she's been in a
She's in
couple
a few.
things. Yeah. I think one of my favorite scenes would have to be at the end, the double quinceanera. That was really fun.
Yeah, the ending scene was great.
Yes.
My number 8 is 3 bed, 2 bath, 1 ghost, like what we just talked about.
We have a lot of the same.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Like I said, I love Chris and Julie's
Yeah.
chemistry in the movie, and I love Madeline, who played Ruby. She was a great part to the film, playing the ghost in the film.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love the whole story. If I had to pick a favorite scene for this one, probably the ending scene, when the ending of the movie and Ruby and Anna are having that deep conversation with each other, and they thank each other for what they like. Let me read it. Okay. When Ruby and Anna hug each other, that's what I wrote. And Anna thanks Ruby for all she's done for her. Then Ruby tells her thanks for being her friend. That scene made me like tear up at the end.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, true.
And then Ruby has to go, and then she goes off to be a ghost
with her
boyfriend Charlie, right?
Charlie. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So and then like
Charlie is
Ruby
his name.
goes off to be with Charlie, who's
Yeah.
also a ghost. No, but that was definitely one of my favorite scenes for that movie, because it was emotional.
Yeah. It was a good movie and a lot of great scenes.
Yes.
My number 8, you just mentioned it, but Field Day, starring Rachel Boston and Benjamin Ayres. Again, I won't say too much since we've already talked a lot about it, but I loved the chemistry with the entire cast, and especially Benjamin and Rachel. I loved the emotion thrown into the story with Jen and her late husband, and that scene when she watches the video message from her husband really got me.
I'm glad you added that in because I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I know that scene made me cry.
Yes. And for the Hardys out there, there's one character in this movie played by someone who we know from season 4 who played a Mountie. I can't remember the Mousie's name, but Preston Vanderslice. Oh, he was also on Mystery 101. Of course.
Yes.
How can I forget?
We can't forget about Preston, that's for sure.
No. My mind was blanking. I was like, why am I not mentioning Mystery 101? But yes, great Hallmark actor. Fun seeing him in this movie.
Yes, we love him.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite scenes in this movie, besides the one I just mentioned, which was emotional, but still a great scene, was the one when Jen, Kelly, and Marissa go to the pop-up bar and they're like dancing and having a good time. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, that was a cute scene.
Yes. Moving on to number 7.
Retreat to You. I'm gonna mispronounce her name because I do it all the time.
Amelia Ullerup.
It starred her and Peter Mooney. They played Abby and Sean. And basically, like, this whole story was about how they were best friends and they meet up again at this wellness retreat at after all these years being apart. And there's like obviously with these two, there's a lot of history that's you find out more in the movie that goes on with these two. And they definitely had their wires crossed this entire movie, like going back and forth between the two of them. Yeah. But I thought she was great in it. I thought Peter was great in it. I thought they had great chemistry together. The cast was great. I love that we got to see Megan and Amelia reunite because they were in Winter Castle together.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes, they were in Winter Castle together, and I love that. And probably one of my favorite scenes was in the beginning of the movie, towards the beginning, when they're about to go on the hike, Abby and Sean, and they have that conversation like on like the lookout point on the bench, and then they start having an argument about when they were younger, because the story goes when she was younger, Sean thought she left him for another guy, but it wasn't true. And they got and turns out her feelings for him were always there. And he just got like misunderstood the whole situation.
Miscommunication.
And I remember it was like the scene where they start arguing and then
they kiss.
Yes.
That kiss. I was like, okay now.
There was like four kissing scenes in that entire movie. I'm like, okay. I know, but that one was one of the biggest kissing scenes in that movie.
That was not gonna lie, that was a good kiss. That was a good
that one. Was. But no, that's my number 7.
I think that was my favorite scene too, and that is my number 7 as well. So yeah, great chemistry, great ensemble cast, great writing, great directing. I mean, the views that we got in some of those scenes were beautiful.
Definitely gorgeous. Wherever they filmed it, like.
Yeah. I also loved the scene when they're trying to catch the fish.
First of all, like, people make like it's easy to catch a fish. It's actually pretty hard. So
yeah. Of course, I got to shout out the Postables here and the Chessies, because the Chessies know Amelia from Chesapeake Shores as Bree, and the Postables know her as Marie in Soulmates, and as another character I will not spoil just yet because you have not gotten there.
No, I have not.
But yes, Amelia is a great actor, and I love seeing her in this movie.
Yeah, I love her in Chesapeake Shores, and I saw her in that one, like you said, that one Science Hill Deliver episode, and she was great in it. But she's definitely one of my favorite Hallmark
Yeah.
actresses.
Yes. But anyway, on to number 6. It is your turn again.
Yes. Okay, so number 6 for me was Dream Moms, and it starred Tamara Mori Housley as Danielle Smith, and it starred Chelsea Hobbs as Claire Ryan.
Yeah.
And it was about two moms whose Broadway dreams got deferred, and they enter a talent show competition and learn it's never too late to become what or who you want to be.
Yeah.
And I love this movie. It was I like the overall message of this movie. So like no matter how old you are, like what age you are, like don't ever give up on your dreams because you can accomplish them at any age if you put your hard work into it.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite scenes of this movie had to be the ending scene because Danielle and Claire, they were working so hard the entire movie on like their dance performance. And at the end, obviously they had to do it for the competition.
Yeah.
And I thought they did great.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like in the dance. It was a fun dance.
It was. I think that was a great scene too, and that is my favorite as well. From what I can remember, I actually have not seen this movie since it aired because Hallmark hasn't played it again.
I know they haven't.
Come
they haven't
on,
played
Hallmark.
it in a while.
Yeah,
they haven't.
Come on, Hallmark, play it again.
I know, right?
Yes.
You know what's funny too? I feel like some of these movies that are on our list, they've been playing them the last like week or two, and I've been catching up and watching a bunch of them.
Yeah. Dream Moms is my number 6 as well. Okay, y'all, this is totally not planned. This is totally not planned. We didn't work together on this list before we recorded. This is just pure coincidence.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. But one more thing I'll share about this movie that I loved was this was, I think, the first movie for the Hallmark Women's Make Her Mark directing program started by Ashley Williams.
Yes.
And Crystal Lowe, who the Postables know and love from SSD, she got to shadow Jessica Harmon as a director on this movie.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I remember when it got announced that she was going to be like shadowing her. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. I love that they're doing this.
Yes.
And that it was her too.
Yeah. And she had a little cameo in this movie. And Jeff was in this movie as well. Jeff had a small part, which I loved. Also, fun fact for the Postables, Jessica, who directed this movie, she was in an episode of SSD, the first episode of the TV series, Time to Start Living. And her character was the antagonist, the bad guy, well, the bad woman involved in the drug trafficking problem that was after Casey, the young boy. Her character was Donna/Sylvia. She worked at the retirement home. And I'm sure you remember because you have seen that episode.
Yes, I absolutely remember.
But anyway, Dream Moms was a great movie and a very fun storyline for Hallmark.
Definitely.
On to our number 5.
So my 5th movie is Making Waves, and it starred Holland Roden as Amelia and Casey Cott as well. And it's about a music label executive goes to a festival on the Outer Banks to beat out the competition for an elusive new band. She discovers that the group is fronted by her childhood summer sweetheart. I thought Holland and Corey had such good chemistry in this film. I loved Holland's part in it.
Yeah.
And probably one of my favorite scenes in this film was definitely the ending scene.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the film, you find out like Holland Roden, who plays Amelia, one of her biggest fears in the film is stage fright. And at the end, she finally conquers her stage fright.
Yeah.
And she gets on stage to announce that her and her friend Sam, who's played by Tegan Moss, who we all know.
Yeah.
Mystery 101, and a couple of other Hallmark
Yes.
and GAC movies. We
Mm-hmm.
love her, like you said.
Yes.
And they announced that they're creating their own record label together, and they're going to
Mm-hmm.
sign on Figure Eight as their first new
Yeah.
artist. And then Will plays with his band. And then they
Mm-hmm.
have that whole side conversation. Corey and Holland, who
Yeah.
are Lillian and Will, and then he tells her in that scene that he loves her, and yeah.
Yes. I even have the line written down. Where you are is where I want to be. Melt my heart into a puddle. Corey
Right.
Cott.
Thank you, Corey.
And he actually has a nice voice. I think you've already mentioned that, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. He does.
Very fun movie. I loved how it was music driven. Love music driven movies. I mean,
Yeah.
we all love music.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loves music.
Mm-hmm.
So this was very fun.
Yes, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah. How it was at a festival. That was really awesome. And I thought the chemistry was great. The writing was great. Directing was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
The costumes, some of those
Yeah.
outfits that Amelia wore, I would definitely wear.
The summer dresses.
Yes. Like the red floral dress I think she wore when she had the braid in her hair. I thought that was a
Yes.
dress. Yeah. And I'll go ahead and share my favorite scene. And she was actually wearing the outfit that I just mentioned in this particular scene when Will was talking about his new song with Amelia, and they're sitting in the back of his truck.
Yes, I love that. Yes.
Yeah, that was a fun scene. Great movie. I really enjoyed it, and definitely one of my favorites for the year.
Me too.
My number 5 is a picture of her, starring Tyler Hynes and Rhiannon Fish. Great writing, great directing, great acting. I feel like this might be one of my favorite Tyler movies. One of my favorite
Me
Tyler
too.
movies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That one's a little bit higher up on my list, but definitely one of my favorite Tyler Hynes movies.
Yes. Yeah. And I love how it was about a photographer. And of course, Tyler was a photographer in this movie. Photography is one of my passions. So I related to his character in some ways. I mean, I'm not a professional photographer, but still related to the character in some ways. I thought it was a really fun movie for spring, I think is when it aired. I think one of my favorite scenes, oh goodness.
I know there was a lot of them in that movie. I had a hard time picking for that movie. Like
is when they had dinner at his house. Like he made her dinner and then they went out on the back patio or porch and they had
what scene you're talking about. And they
talk about the fire. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And the kisses in that movie, excuse me.
We got a lot of them.
Excuse me.
We got a lot of them in that movie, that's for sure.
Well, I go get a fan. I mean,
oh, just to add, fun fact with that movie picture of her, I remember being on Twitter the night it premiered, and Rhiannon Fish actually replied to a few of my tweets because I tweeted to her, I'm like, is this like the first time ever in a Hallmark movie there's been like 4 kissing scenes in like one movie? And she answered me back and she goes, it was always 2 max for me.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I remember I have a screenshot in my phone.
Oh my goodness. But yeah. I mean, that one on the dock at the end, that was fire.
Fire was.
Sparks were flying.
Yeah, their chemistry was really good.
Yes. Yeah, their chemistry was fantastic. And of course, the kiss at the end, too, before they go on the motorcycle ride was sweet as well.
I feel like Tyler's got great chemistry with everybody, though. Like, everyone he does a movie with, he has like his chemistry is like up there.
Yes. And fun fact, Rhiannon was also in one of the SSD movies.
Yes, Not yet. Okay, I'm thinking of another. I'm thinking of another show
Yes.
or a movie that she was in. No, I'm thinking
Yeah.
of another movie that she was in. That's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah. You'll see. Her character is in one of the more recent movies. I'll just say that.
Awesome. Good to know.
Yes.
My number 4 is The Wedding Cottage, starring Erin Krecko as Vanessa Doyle and Brandon Penny as
Yes.
Evan Stanford. And this one was about a wedding guide creator must convince an uninspired artist and owner of a special wedding cottage to reinvent the rundown cottage to host a contest-winning couple for their dream wedding.
Yeah.
I thought, like, Brandon Penny in this movie. I mean, the whole cast and crew was great.
Yeah.
Aaron was great, but Brandon Penny in this movie was so good.
Yes.
So good in this movie. And we love him from, obviously, being a
Big
Chucky
Shores.
on
Yeah.
Chesapeake and his other films, other
Yeah.
Hallmark films that we love him in. And I thought Aaron and Brandon, they had great chemistry. Chemistry was fantastic. Really, really, it was good. Really fire. And probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie was definitely the scene where they were bride and the groom who won the contest. They were rehearsing their wedding dance in the cottage, and and they help them out, Vanessa and Evan, and they start dancing together. They're like the chemistry in that whole entire scene to begin with.
The
Insane.
the way he tucked her hair behind her
Yes.
ear.
That scene.
I was like,
Like I
okay,
said,
Brendan Penny.
Ready, like
Swoon.
right? Swoon worthy moment, definitely.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, that was my
Yeah.
4th pick. It was a great one.
I won't share much more for me just yet because that is coming up as well. So I'll leave that for just a few minutes. But my number 4 is Making Waves. And we've already talked a lot about this one. So I'll just say that it was a great movie and I really enjoyed it. I think I've already said a lot about how much I enjoyed this movie. So we can just move on to our number 3.
My number 3 pick is a picture of her, which you already spoke about. Yes. And like I said, so Tyler Hines and Rhiannon Fish. And like I said, I'm going to be brief with this one, like, because you covered most of it.
Yeah.
They had great chemistry together.
Him
and Rhiannon. And I love the whole story. Like I said, he was the photographer in the movie, and they were in that farmer's market. Was it a farmer's market?
They were in the farmer's market.
It was in the farmer's market where he took her photo, Tyler Hines, who played Jake, and then her photo goes on the cover of a magazine, Rhiannon Fish, and throughout the whole movie, she's trying to figure out who is the photographer.
Yeah.
And obviously, it turns out to be Tyler, who plays Jake.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one I really love. I love their scenes together. And if I had to pick one of my favorite scenes from the movie, is probably the scene where I remember it was like they were out together during the day, and then they come back to his house, and like she's like looking around his place.
Oh, she sees his photography.
And she's yes. And then he shows her the old-fashioned camera. Yeah. And he helps her, like he helps her like turn it and use it, and they like glance at each other. That was a good scene too.
Yeah. For me, my number 3 is The Wedding Cottage. We already talked a lot about this one, but I think this is one of my favorite Hallmark pairings to date.
Me too. Took me by surprise.
Yeah. I knew I was going to love this movie, but I didn't know how much I was going to love it.
It was so good.
Yes. And of course, all the Hardys know and love Erin as Elizabeth on When Calls the Heart, and Brendan as Kevin on Chesapeake Shores. And besides the scene we already mentioned, I'll mention 2 comical scenes and then one other maybe romantic scene, I guess.
Mhm.
The two other comedic scenes that I loved was one at the beginning when she is picking the wildflowers in the woods, and I think he comes up and he like is trying to scare her and act like a
That scene was
squirrel.
hilarious.
And then the leaf blower.
That was actually going to be my second favorite pick scene for that movie. But I had to pick another one. That scene was hilarious. I was busting out laughing during that scene.
Here, because she had the headphones. Oh my gosh. And then romantic scene, I think I'm gonna have to say the end scene when he surprises her and shows up at the wedding. That was a good
I
one.
love that one.
And of course, who doesn't love a wedding? So I thought that the couple who won the contest, their wedding was beautiful, even though it was short.
Right. Like I said, who doesn't love Hallmark weddings? They're in basically every movie, and everyone,
Yeah.
the majority of them are done beautifully.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And I have to say, this is not part of the movie, but one of my favorite things about this movie was the behind the scenes from Aaron and Brendan.
Yes. They're behind the scenes together. Like the pictures and the videos they shared.
Gold.
Really.
Gold.
Yeah, they were fun.
Yes. Anyway, moving on to our number 2. I think it is your turn again.
Yes. Number 2 for me was Hearts in the Game. And
That was mine too.
And it starred Marco Granizzi as Diego Vasquez, and Aaron Cahill played Hazel Miller, and Donna Cash played Jax.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie was basically about Hazel is a top publicist in New York City, and she's trying to build her empire. Diego is a top MLB pitcher who froze during Game 7 of the World Series, and he also happens to be Hazel, played by Aaron Cahill. It's her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
And she has to go back to where she's from to get a story, but for the story, she has to spin his image. And it turns out to be like her biggest challenge yet. And for her, because like there's a lot of history between the two of them. And throughout this entire movie, obviously they were high school sweethearts. And then they broke up. And also in the film, there's an underlying reason why he froze in this movie, Diego, during Game 7.
Yes.
And you find that out. It's actually a really sad reason. His mom got diagnosed with cancer, and the night of the game was the anniversary of his mom's. I don't know if it was the day when she got diagnosed, right? That was
I
the anniversary.
believe so, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And that's the reason why, as she finds out, as she's doing her story, Hazel in the film, that's the reason why. And part of the film, he doesn't want to add that part into the story. He wants to keep that like to his personal self. And that's what she has to try to get around and figure out.
Yeah, that's the conflict.
But yes. And I thought Aaron and Marco, they had chemistry so good.
Yes.
I love their chemistry. It was there, definitely. And probably one of my favorite scenes definitely has to be the scene where they're at the baseball field.
The dugout?
The dugout, that scene, and then the scene right after they come back. They come back to his house, and then he tells her the reason why he didn't show up at prom.
Oh, yeah. That was a good scene.
Yes, and and they have that whole conversation, and the reason was he just found out prom that his mom got sick with cancer, and he didn't know like how to react to it. Yeah, that's what he tells her there. And he tells her that he couldn't face her and tell her that information like the night of their senior prom. And I remember that scene so well because it was probably one of my favorites because it was a real emotional one. But I also love it because it like they really connected, her and him. I love like the kissing scene where that
First
scene.
kiss.
Yes, the first like that whole kissing scene was like a 10 out of 10. That was a good one.
Yes.
But yeah, that was definitely.
Yeah, that was one of my top favorite scenes as well. And I think another favorite scene I liked before the conversation in the dugout when they were playing baseball. I think,
Yes.
one of them was throwing the ball to the other as they were, batting the ball or hitting the ball, of course. And then I also loved the short but sweet porch swing conversation before the baseball field scene.
That was another great scene.
Love a good porch swing conversation on this podcast.
You definitely do. But like I said, a lot of porch swing moments happen in Hallmark films, and the majority of them I love. So
yeah, a lot of great scenes in this movie. The depth in this movie is one thing that I loved.
Like I said, I got to rewatch it a few days ago. I almost forgot how good it was, and it reminded me how good it was and how much I love the movie. I told Erin this when I met her last year at Christmas Con. I'm like, I told her like it was my favorite movie of the year, and she goes, "Oh my!" And she remember she told me, she goes, "Thank you so much." I said, "No, it was it. The whole movie was fantastic. It was great."
Yes, and of course I know Marco from Virgin River. So
yes, I know he is in Virgin River.
Yeah, yes, yep, great actor, and I'm glad that he's part of Hallmark.
Me too.
And of course, Aaron too.
Yes, we love Aaron.
Yes, we love Aaron, and the whole cast was just fantastic. And shout out to the Hardys once again. Sarah Smythe, I think is how you pronounce her name, who played Aaron's character's friend. She
played Carly.
Carly, yes. She was on When Calls the Heart just recently, especially as the young boy Robert's mother. And
I thought she looked familiar.
Yeah. And her husband, played by Jason McKinnon, was also on When Calls the Heart.
He's a familiar face for Hallmark too.
As Superintendent Thomas Higgins in season 4, who took Elizabeth's job away temporarily. But great actor. Love Jason as well.
Yeah.
Even though I did not like his character on When Calls the Heart. But anyway, Hearts in the Game is my number 2 as well. So I won't say anything else. We've pretty much already mentioned everything we love about this movie. Definitely one of the best Hallmark has ever done.
For sure.
Yes. And on to our number 1. I think I know what you're going to say because it's my number 1 too. So why don't we just say it at the same exact time? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Wedding Veil Expectations. That was not that great, but that's okay.
No, we tried. We tried.
Effort.
Okay, so this one, as everybody knows, from the first trilogy, from the series of movies, were all great. All were fantastic. So I knew the second set were also going to be just as great.
Yeah.
And we followed this one with, it stars Kevin McGarry as Peter and Lacey Chabert as Avery.
Yeah.
And this movie I really liked because we got to see Avery and Peter as a married couple.
Yes.
But which we all wanted to see since they got married in the last film.
Yeah.
But we also got to see in this film how marriage tested their relationship as a couple, but also brought them closer together as a couple. and which I really liked, which is very realistic.
Yeah.
But yeah, because as you saw throughout the movie, there was like stuff going on with him at his foundation where he works, and then Avery had stuff going on where she works at the museum with the portrait of Amelia.
The veil.
The veil and the portrait.
Yeah.
And the veil, they had something going on there. And but yeah, so that's what I loved about the movie. You got to see them become really close as a couple, but also have like their like issues too, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of my favorite scenes in this movie, obviously, I think you're gonna know which scene I'm gonna pick.
When he finds out.
When Avery tells Peter that she's pregnant. Those two hit it out of the park with that scene.
Yes.
Oh my God. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yes. I basically have the same thoughts as you on this movie. I loved seeing a married couple storyline on Hallmark. Please, more Hallmark.
Yes.
And that includes SSD. Please. Pretty please with a cherry on top.
Give us all the married couples and the kids.
Yes. But Kevin and Lacey knocked it out of the park once again.
Yep.
Kevin is one of my favorites. Lacey is one of my favorites. Of course, the whole cast is great. Like I love Autumn and Allison as well. And Karen, who plays Mama Hastings.
Yes.
Peter's mom. And I love the scene when she finds out she's going to be a grandmother. And I thought that was really sweet. And also the talk on the balcony with Peter and Avery about the minivan. I thought that was a nice one.
Yeah, that was a cute scene.
Yes. And Peter Benson did a fantastic job directing.
We love Peter.
Yes. Yep. And this movie also had a Chesapeake Shores alum, Oliver Rice.
Yes. Who played Bree's boyfriend in the show, remember?
Yes, the English author.
Yes.
Or British author. Yeah.
British.
Same thing.
Same thing.
And Peter, shout out to the Postables here. He was in one of the SSD movies as well. Haven't seen it yet, but you will soon.
Yes, soon.
Yeah, he plays a little small part in one of the movies. Great all around job to the cast and crew.
Great movie last year.
Yes.
I always watch it every time like it's on. Like I have to watch it if I'm free.
Yeah. Before we move on to our Hallmark movies and mysteries top 10, which will be in the next episode, would you like to share any honorable mention movies that maybe just missed the top 10 for Hallmark Channel this year?
Sure. Yeah, I've had two of mine. Like Spy Romance, which was with Andrew Walker and Brittany Bristow.
Yeah.
And A Professional Bridesmaid that starred Hunter King and Chandler Massey.
Yeah.
I think those were the two for me.
Yeah. Those were two of mine as well. And then, of course, The Wedding Veil Inspiration, The Wedding Veil Journey.
And the other wedding veils for me, too.
Yes. Make Me a Match, which was Eva Bourne and Rushi Koda. I apologize if I mispronounce his name, but great writing in that movie. Great acting. The depth in that movie is one thing I loved. And very unique storyline. It was about an Indian couple or Indian culture.
Yes. I remember that one.
Yeah.
So
I really enjoyed that one.
It was very unique for Hallmark Channel.
Yeah. Other than that, there were a couple other ones that I enjoyed, but didn't make the top 10. I think Sweeter Than Chocolate was a pretty good one. And Fourth Down in Love, Ryan Pavey and Pascal Hutton. I loved that one as well. Yes. I think that completes our Hallmark Channel Top 10 Non-Christmas for 2023. Great year for Hallmark Channel with their
Yes,
movies.
a lot of good
Yes.
movies last year. But like I said in the beginning, we definitely picked the best ones. I
Yes.
thought.
Yes. And totally not planned
No.
that we had the same ones
Similar movies.
except a couple in different spots. I mean, it's not like we copied each other because we didn't.
Not.
When I was looking at your list, I was like, wait, this looks a lot like mine.
like me personally, Nicole, like those were honestly like my favorite movies from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like all those movies. Like I was thinking about adding the other two Wedding Veils onto the list, but I'm like, I really thought the one with Kevin McGarry and Lacey
was the best.
was the best out of the trilogy.
Yeah.
But
we
had a lot of similar movies, but
I think we've said this before in another episode, but I think we're on the same wavelength for these movies.
100% accurate.
I think we have the same thoughts about a lot of
we do.
Hallmark movies.
We do. 100%.
Yes. This is always so much fun having you on. Thank you again for joining me, Alex. I had a great time.
Yeah, I did too. It's always fun.
Of course. Yes. And I will see you for our Hallmark Movies and Mysteries Top 10, which we are recording literally right after this.
Can't wait.
Yes. All right, Hallmarkies. I think that wraps up our rankings for the Hallmark Channel Top 10 Non-Christmas Movies of 2023. If you enjoyed this episode, you can like this video and share what your top 10 of the year are. If you want to stay up to date on all of my episodes, you can subscribe to this channel and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when new episodes come. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye!